Welcome to Disciple Dojo. I wanted to make a quick episode to let you guys know about a free online Bible resource that you may not know about. Some of you see me on screen. A lot of times I use Logos or Accordance. Those are paid programs. We have talked about Step Bible, which is an excellent online free resource, as well as the Bart Bible app, also a free resource. Here's another one just to make you aware of. And so I wanted to show it to you real quick and then show you something really cool that they sent me. So here's the website. It is CrossBible.com. Super easy to remember. Just think of cross-reference Bible and just take out reference. CrossBible.com. And so when you go there, this is the main page, and there's a thing that says Start Reading the Bible. And it shows you what different translations, what different versions they have available here. They've got some in English, then they have Greek versions. Then they have some foreign languages, Ukrainian, Korean, French, Spanish, Russian, Latin, modern Greek, and Hebrew. So again, this is entirely free. So obviously these translations are the ones that they have been able to get licenses for, because whether we like it or not, Bible translations are copyrighted, unfortunately. At least newer ones are. So you choose which Bible translation you want. And this tells you their mission: enrich Bible study with interactive web-based software. Very simple, to the point. Then there's a thing about some features. So what you can do, reading, comparing the Bibles in parallel. And then they have this, which we'll look at in just a second, Bible timeline. Explore an interactive history of the Bible. And this is very cool. We'll come back to it. Then there's a preview of upcoming features, things that they're going to be working on, gospel comparison that they're going to be releasing, create custom Bible translations with powerful tools. So being able to translate into a completely different language, this is huge for Bible translators. There are still a couple of thousand languages around the world that do not have any portion of scripture available to them. And the goal of Bible translators has always been for there to be a Bible in every language that everyone speaks on the earth. So this actually would be a tool for someone working in an unreached people group or a place that either doesn't have a Bible translation, or the translation that they have may be very old and out of date. Some languages only have translations of an English translation. Like there's no one who knows the language to translate directly from Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic into the receptor language. So you end up with things like someone translating the King James or the American Standard Version into whatever language they're trying to reach. It's better than nothing, but it's not a Bible translation. It's a translation of a translation. So this would actually be a really cool feature for people working in that field. So there's a course coming soon, Learn Greek the Easy Way. You can contact them at this link if you want to join one of the classes that are already in progress. And then they are partnered with our friends over at Biblingo. I've reviewed Biblingo here on the channel. It's a phenomenal app, and I highly recommend it. It is a paid app, but it is very, very good. Well worth, you probably have an easier time with Biblingo than trying to find a college or a seminary where you can go study Greek or Hebrew in person. So I'm a big fan of Biblingo. And then there's a contact form at the bottom. So real quick, let's look at the Bible reader and see what this is like. I'm going to open up with, we'll just leave it on the NIV, kind of a default translation, very popular translation. And I've been reading Habakkuk lately, or Habakkuk, as you might say. So we're going to go to Habakkuk, and then let's do chapter 3 of Habakkuk. So we click the Bible app, and it opens it right up to Habakkuk chapter 3. Now, this is the NIV, and it's pretty straightforward. There's the NIV. Here's each verse number. But let's say I want to compare translations. So I'm going to click this Bible icon to add another translation. And now, let's say I want to say, well, how do Jewish Bibles translate this? So we'll choose the JPS, the old JPS, 1917. So now I've got the NIV here. I have the JPS here. Maybe I know a little bit of Hebrew. I'm like, well, what is the Leningrad Codex, like the oldest complete Hebrew Bible? What does that say? So I click on that, and I can compare the NIV with the Hebrew. But what if I want to do more than one translation? Well, that's the cool thing. I click it again, and it adds another window. So now I can pull up, and I have the JPS, and I have the Hebrew, and I have the NIV on this side. I'll add another one. Let's say I want to look at the Septuagint. So I can open that up, and now I have the Septuagint, an English translation of the Septuagint right here. And so it looks like you can compare up to 4 different translations. You can also, if you don't want it this way, if you click this, it'll switch it. Now it's line by line. so I can read them interlinearly. NIV, the Hebrew, JPS. Let's say I don't like the way this looks. I want the Hebrew on the left. Well, I'll switch out. I'm just going to click that over to Greek for right now. I'm going to put this is going to be the Hebrew on the left-hand side. Then I'll make this one the NIV. So there we go. Now I have the Hebrew, NIV, JPS, and the Septuagint, Brenton's translation. So this is a really cool, handy feature if you just need to quickly compare Bible versions on the go. If I want to get rid of one, let's just get rid of Brenton's. Just cross that out. Now I'm back down to 3. If I don't want it interlinearly anymore, click back here. Now it's parallel. So very, very handy tool for quick Bible comparison. And that's what this CrossBible is primarily for, that, for comparing Bible translations. Now, when I go up to study resources, if I click on that, these are recommended reading. And what they've done is basically curate like a bibliography in all of these different areas. So if you're like, oh, I want to know about text criticism, well, you open this up, all of these are titles that have to do with text criticism. Now, don't get too excited. When you click on these, it's not the text of these books because these are all scholarly resources. But it does take you to where you can find, at least on Amazon, you could actually purchase this book. So kind of like what Disciple Dojo does in our descriptions for all our videos, we'll always put links if we talk about a resource. Unlike us though, because we don't do any partnerships, they do have a partnership with Amazon, and they let you know right up here, they are an affiliate. So as an Amazon affiliate, CrossBible earns a little bit of every commission. So anytime you buy a resource from here, you're helping this ministry out. So anyway, I got a little excited when I saw it, and I was like, whoa, these are some phenomenal resources. And I clicked on it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, of course they are. You have to buy them. But you can't find most of these anywhere free online. This is like kind of the books that are all around me here in the library. But at least you know where to go if you're wanting to build your library. Then the last thing that I want to look at is the timeline. So if you click on timeline, it takes you to this. It's called Bible Timeline 2.0. And you can actually zoom in, and this shows you all the manuscripts, original text, everything, and they're color coded. So Hebrew Masoretic text family, those are in brown. Septuagint, that's in this green color. Samaritan Pentateuch, that's in gray. And then for the New Testament, those are all Old Testament. The New Testament, these are the different text types. So sometimes you hear people talk about the Byzantine text, the Alexandrian text, the Western text. Well, these are all labeled and color coded here. So when you zoom out, these gray lines, I'll zoom in at the top here, these are the centuries. So 400 BC, so 5th century BC, 4th century BC, 3rd century BC, and then here is the 1st century BC, 1st century AD. So this would be the time of the New Testament. And you have what's being developed, what's being written at the time. So the Proto-Masoretic texts, the Proto-Septuagint text back here, Proto-Samaritan Pentateuch, the Septuagint expansion. So the Septuagint was translated over the centuries, not all at once. So in between the 3rd and 2nd century BC. And then you also have here the Dead Sea Scrolls. These were when they were being copied and preserved and collected from the 3rd century BC all the way to the 2nd century AD. Click on this little link and it tells you what they consist of. These are the biblical books that were included in the Dead Sea Scrolls. These are the ones that were not included or maybe had limited copies of. Same thing here. You can click on the Nash Papyrus and it gives you a little information about it. Nash Papyrus is a collection of 4 Hebrew fragments containing the 10 Commandments, along with the first part of the Shema Yisrael prayer. And it says the text diverges from later Masoretic texts and in some passages aligns more closely with the Septuagint. So you whenever you're reading and learning about text criticism and manuscript families and all that kind of stuff, this is a really good visual resource. You bookmark this thing, come to it and be like, okay, what is Aquila? I've heard about Aquila before, but who or what is Aquila? So click on this. Aquila's translation, also known as the Aquila Recension, is a highly literal Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible made in the 2nd century, commissioned by Aquila of Sinope, a Jewish proselyte and student of Rabbi Akiva. And when you click on it, there's a link. It'll take you to the Wikipedia page on the different things that are being talked about in the chart itself. So you're like, oh, okay, now I know when I see Aquila mentioned, I know what it's talking about. Same thing with Symmachus. Who's Symmachus? You click on it, it tells you Symmachus' translation is a Greek version of the Hebrew Bible created in the late 2nd century CE, known for its elegance and clarity. Symmachus aimed to produce a translation that was both faithful to the Hebrew Masoretic text and stylistically refined in Greek. And so you can see it dates from the 2nd century AD. So this is really helpful just at a glance. And it's not just biblical resources, it's also got, for instance, the Talmud. So the Talmud, this Aramaic literature, it spans from the Mishnah, the Tosefta, the Jerusalem Gemara, the Babylonian Gemara. All this together comprises the Talmud. The Targums, if you remember the episode where Isaac Paley came on and introduced us to the Targums, here are the 4 Targums that he talked about. Targum Onkelos, Targum Jonathan, Targum Neophiti, and Targum Yerushalmi, or Pseudo-Jonathan. There's also a chart with the non-canonical writings that date from the New Testament. These date to between the 1st and 2nd century AD. So things like what's in a lot of these are in the Apostolic Fathers: Epistle of Barnabas, Shepherd of Hermas, 1st and 2nd Clement, Martyrdom of Polycarp, the Didache, Ignatius. You can find these collected in the Apostolic Fathers. And then the Deuterocanonical, or the apocryphal books, the Old Testament books of the Apocrypha, and then the later ones like the additions to Daniel, the Enoch literature, Baruch, Jubilees, the Maccabees literature. And again, if you're wondering where or when does this happen, just scroll to the top, and that's what century we're talking about. And then the New Testament canon. And then the New Testament canon, all comprised here in the 1st century AD. So all of the New Testament books here. And then after that, on this whole side of the chart, you have all of the manuscripts. So from the New Testament, when the actual books were written, then these are all of the manuscripts when they date to. And you can see there are tons of them. I mean, this thing's huge. All these manuscripts in New Testament text criticism, this entire field, all of these dating 2nd century, 3rd century, 4th century, 5th century, 6th century, and all the way up. Then in red, you start to get into the translations. So you have these translations that are based on the TR, the Textus Receptus. That's a collection of different Greek versions, and some people get really into this and swear that it's the only inspired New Testament translation. Our friend Mark Ward has done a video, actually just posted an hour-long discussion on the fact that there are multiple TRs, not just one. So that kind of undercuts the whole KJV onlyism. But these are what they are. There's Erasmus's text, Beza's text, Plant and Polyglot, Fell's Greek New Testament, Mills Greek New Testament. There's even the Jefferson Bible. Do you know Thomas Jefferson tried to make his own Bible by clipping out all of the miracles? And then into the modern editions of the Greek text. Everything from the UBS, first 5 editions, the Tyndale House Greek New Testament, then a recent one, the Editio Critica Major, ECM, very expensive, very exhaustive. There's also the different editions of the Septuagint, the critical editions of the Hebrew Bible, the Biblica Hebraica, BHK, Biblica Hebraica Stuttgartensia, BHS. This is kind of what most people use right now. And then, because it's not done yet, the Biblica Hebraica Quinta, BHQ. That is ongoing. They've been working on it for decades. They're going to be working on it for decades. It's not even close to finished. And then you have down here modern translations. So up here, these are all different texts, like different presentations of the original Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic texts. Well, down here, these are all of the modern translations and the centuries that they spanned. So this is the 1600s over here, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, and the 21st century. And so, the King James here, it was a revision in part of the Bishop's Bible, which was from the Geneva Bible, which was from Tyndale and Coverdale's Bible. So it shows the relationship between the different Bibles that led to the King James. Then from there, you had John Wesley's New Testament. You had Webster's revision, and all the way down, you had the Scofield Reference Bible that used the King James, the JPS. You had the New King James here in the 1900s. And there's even translations or paraphrases into modern Greek. And then at the bottom, other international translations, when the various English, Spanish, Russian, French translations all came out, as well as here in green, the Latin Bibles, or the Bibles that are based on the Vulgate, like the Douay-Rheims or Nova Vulgata, Novum Testamentum Latine. So this thing is really exhaustive. If you're a Bible nerd, or a history nerd, or a history of the Bible nerd, then go to crossbible.com/timeline and just nerd out all you want. And this is cool. You can actually order this thing. You can order a poster of this entire timeline. Just click on there and you can order one. It's $35 for a 24 by 36 poster. And here's the cool thing. Stephen, who founded CrossBible, the guy that runs it, he actually sent me a poster of the timeline. This is how big it is. I can't even fit it all on camera, but everything we just looked at, you can zoom all the way up close and see. So it's a very cool resource. And he sent me 2 of them. One for me to keep as a gift, and the other is to use as a giveaway here at Disciple Dojo. So what we're going to be doing in an upcoming Disciple Dojo Open Mat live stream, that's when we do our giveaways. The only way to know when we're going to do it is to be subscribed to the channel and having notifications enabled, because I only announce these live streams when I can coordinate with Gregory and we can get our schedules together and make it happen. And I usually don't know too far in advance, but as soon as I know, I post it on the feed here on YouTube, and I announce it on Instagram as well. So if you're on Instagram, just follow at Disciple Dojo, and then on Facebook, facebook.com/Disciple Dojo. So I announce it as much as I can, but during our next Open Mat live stream, I'm going to be giving away the extra CrossBible Bible timeline poster. If you're at all in Christian education, or you're just a Bible buff, then that's definitely something that you'll want to have. Very cool. And for those of you that can't or don't want a physical copy, check out the website. You can see it there. And it really is a very well done resource in Bible nerd land. So I just want to make you guys aware of that. Check out CrossBible.com. And if you have any questions about it, contact them directly through their website. I will not be able to answer your questions. They're not an affiliate. We don't have any kind of special deal. Stephen and I met at SBL, and he messaged me and said, hey, we got this poster. Would you be interested in one? And I said, yeah. And if you want to send one as a giveaway, that'd be great too. So anyway, go check them out. Very cool resource, entirely free. If you have an internet connection, you can start doing Bible study in depth, comparing translations. And if you don't know Greek or Hebrew, that is the best way to study the text, is comparing translations. That'll do for now. Thanks for watching. If you appreciate this and you find it helpful, let us know. Like, share, comment, tell others about Disciple Dojo. Very appreciative for all the support you guys give this channel. Take care. We'll see you back here next time. As always, in the meantime, keep training.